Hey, everybody. Well, welcome again to Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. Boston Marathon Edition. We're presented and hosted by Hyland. Stop your cramp, not your race. By Polar. Check out the Polar Vantage M and the Marathon Edition. And UCAN. Perform, work out, energize. An amazing young man joins us next with an amazing story. His name is Marko Cheseto. Marko, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you too.
So, growing up, running in Kenya, which is pretty much the national sport, when did you decide that, you know what, I'm going to go to college in Alaska?
That was in 2007.
Okay.
I had, running started when I was going to school, elementary school.
You ran to school and ran home?
Yes, because that was the only way of getting to school. And
how far was it each day?
4 miles one way.
So 8 miles a day?
More than that, because 8 miles a day when I was first grade to third grade. But from fourth grade to eighth grade, I would go, it was 4 times, because I would go to school in the morning, go home for lunch, go back to school, then come back in the
16 miles a day?
Yes. But that was very informal. I didn't think I was training for anything.
And were you running barefoot?
Yes. And then sometimes when I had the shoes,
yes,
and I would be running to school and it started raining,
yes,
you take the shoes off so then they don't get dirty.
You don't want your shoes to get dirty.
No.
Yes, no.
Because you can always wash your feet.
The shoes are for special occasions.
Yes.
You don't want them to get dirty.
Yes.
So, okay, so, and you're running through high school, and did you get recruited by other colleges?
I was first recruited by Texas Tech University.
Okay.
And I think it took too long before my paperwork went through. And by the time it went through, they didn't have a scholarship for me.
Okay.
But I think the coach felt like he needed to help me more. So he referred me to a friend who was then coaching at Iona College in New York.
Yes.
But this assistant coach had applied to be an assistant coach at the University of Alaska Anchorage. So he said, I am taking this athlete with me. So he referred me to Alaska. I didn't choose to go to Alaska myself.
So when you get to Alaska, did you know how cold it was there? Did you know about snow?
No, because back then in 2007, I didn't know what Google was. I could have Googled some stuff, but I didn't know how cold it was. But even if I was told how cold it was, I would have, I knew the opportunity was, great.
So you get the scholarship, you go to Alaska. What was the toughest part for you adapting to, and did you know that snow was coming out of the sky, or did you think it was coming out of the ground? What did you think?
The toughest part for me was going to bed, leaving the sun out and just going to bed. Like, that was just a crazy idea to just go to bed when the sun was out there. And, people were telling me about, oh yeah, wait, it's going to snow. My experience about, snow was, I thought it would be cold and the dew in the morning will pile up and it becomes the snow that covers the ground. I didn't know that it was something that would fall from the sky. That was something that I just experienced in Alaska.
I love that. So you're running, and you're running well in Alaska. And did your cousin William come over that first year, or was it a second year?
It was a second year.
So William comes over, and you seem like you adapted fairly easily to Alaska, but it was hard for William.
It was, and it didn't look like it was hard for him.
Because he wasn't saying anything.
No, he wasn't, and we were all having fun. So there was no signs of, it is a tough place to be. Because, when you were in your mid-20s or early 20s and you just got out of home, you are a free man. You decide to do whatever you want. It was fun.
Yes. And you're in this great part of the world.
Yeah, it was really great. And you get to go to store riding on a car. You don't have to run to the store.
Yeah.
So everything was fun.
So when William is going through tough times and he calls you one day and says, Marko, could you come and talk to me? And then by the time you got there, he had killed himself. And I'm sure that you had to just feel like, gosh, if William hadn't come here, this wouldn't have happened to him. How hard was that for you to handle?
That was very difficult part. And I think it was the first time that somebody had asked me for help and I was not able to offer that help because I didn't know the seriousness of what he was talking about before that.
The depression, you
Yeah,
didn't know.
he was just like, hey, I needed to talk to you. And I thought, well, maybe this is just a normal man stuff.
Sure.
I thought he was going to tell me, I found a girlfriend from America, so what do you think about this? So I was like, yeah, I can wait until tonight.
So he really hit it. He really
Yeah,
hit what
no,
was going on.
Yes, and it was not only me. Like, after he committed suicide, it was not only me that he tried to reach. There are other people that he tried to reach, but everybody at the time, it was around 2 p.m., I would say. I'm not very sure about the time, but it
Yeah.
was afternoon. So everybody was still at work, and, you know, we all, when we came together, we were trying to figure out what really happened. We were like, everybody was like, yeah, we'll talk later. So I think he felt like nobody wanted to help him at that time.
Yes.
But this is just a speculation.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, really.
So then you're going through some tough times.
Yeah.
And you're out for a run, and somehow you end up laying down in the snow, and for 3 days you were in the snow, and it's not like it was warm out there. Do you remember going out for the run?
You know, not really. And this is the hard part about depression.
Yeah.
And it's something that I can talk through experience about people committing suicide and all that. In my own experience, and this is my own opinion,
Yes.
I think their intentions is not to kill themselves.
No.
It's just trying to figure out a way of getting out of a situation. Because
Right.
for my case, I took a lot of antidepressants and 3 oxycodone pills
Oh.
and went for a run. And that is how I passed out.
Right.
So because I was too medicated. And it was like an overdose, to say. So I remember maybe 10 minutes of the entire run, and I just couldn't
Yeah.
remember the rest.
And 3 days later, you stagger into a hotel, into the lobby. I mean, if you didn't get up on your own, would they have ever found you?
No, nobody would have found me. And, you know, I just woke up in the middle of a night. I don't know if it was the middle of a night, but the moon was shining. And I kind of went, where am I? What? So I got up. It was not just like getting up. I struggled to get up. And luckily, I stumbled upon a groomed ski trail. And I just followed the trail and
Found the
ended
trails.
up in a hotel lobby. And that is where I knew how long I was out. Because the guy at the lobby asked me where I had been for 3 days.
And you're like, it
And
didn't
I'm
seem like 3 days.
No, I was like, what are you talking about, 3 days? But it was, at the hotel lobby, I had a very short time of remembering what actually happened. Because it was so quick that the next thing that I remember, I was in the hospital. I don't know what happened. I remember talking to the guy about the 3 days, and then that was it. I don't remember I don't know how I got into the hospital.
Wow. And then they end up amputating both legs below the knee, and you are a runner. I
Yes.
mean, your legs are basically your identity. How hard was that, knowing that they're going to amputate your legs?
You know, it was the hardest thing that, you know, I could imagine would haven't happened to me. Because, you know, the experience that I had seen with people without feet
Yes.
was them being on a wheelchair. So I just saw myself on a wheelchair.
And especially coming from Africa, I'm sure people who are dealing with disability are usually begging on the side of the road, and it's a different lot in life as someone who's disabled.
Not even begging on the side of the road. They were being locked inside the house because their families would not want them out there because it was sometimes...
It's embarrassing.
And even now, being seen as a disgrace.
It is. So how do you make the phone call to your parents that I've come to this wonderful country, our cousin William has killed himself, and I've just lost both legs? That had to be a tough conversation.
It was really. And I called my dad because I knew my mom would not handle it.
Right.
So I called my dad and I told him, you know, both my legs have been amputated below the knee. Of course, they have heard the news that I had disappeared.
Right.
So I think my dad was glad to hear my voice.
I'm glad that you were alive.
And, you know, my dad really gave me a lot of encouragement. He was like, hey, you know what? As long as you didn't lose your brain, I think everything will be fine. But I could tell from, you know, a parent voice
Yes.
that's not how my dad would say something.
Right.
He was just really, like, I could tell the pain that, you know, he was going through.
When did you realize you could run again?
Like, before even my amputation. Because some people came to the hospital and, you know, they were showing me videos of the
People running,
yes,
amputees running.
and, you know, they're like, hey, look, you can do this. And this is funny, but I don't think it's funny for everybody. One of my friends actually sent me Cat Williams short video. This
Tink Tink.
Yes.
Little Tink Tink.
They're like, hey, this is what you can do.
That's pretty funny.
It was, I was laughing at my hospital bed because I watched that. I'm like, oh, this is pretty funny, but I didn't really get the idea of what he was talking about.
Did you feel that, I mean, it seems like the way you came back afterwards and became a great runner again, it was almost like, I mean, did you feel some guilt around Williams passing and almost like, okay, this happened to me, now I can move forward?
I had some guilt before losing my feet.
Yes.
But after losing my feet, I learned a very great lesson in life. That in life, there are some things that you don't have control of.
Right.
Because I was asking myself, if I had control of everything in life, I wouldn't have lost my feet because I would have controlled it.
Right.
So then from that experience, I just started healing and knowing. And then I knew that, there's nothing I could have done.
No, not at all.
Because really, and then I really started healing from that point. And after that, I stopped taking the antidepressant. I just took a cold turkey, just stopped taking.
And started running.
How
long was it before you could run again?
I think I started running like 18 months after my amputation.
And now you've gone 120 for the half marathon,
yes,
252 for the marathon in New York,
yeah,
as a double knee amputee, and the second fastest behind Richard Whitehead of all time. So as a guy who's run 252, and now it sounds like Boston's going to have prize money next year for amputees, things are starting to look up.
It is really changing. And this is a great opportunity that the BAA are putting that section of the para-athletes because,
right,
this is an opportunity for those guys out there, amputees like myself, that this is an opportunity that we can prove that, we are just like any other person out there running Boston Marathon. They're elites. And whatever happened to us does not define what I am. Like my amputation and all the ordeal that I went through does not define who I am. It's just an occurrence in life that, that happened, but it's not who I am. And this is sometimes, and I think it's the work of us athletes, as a para-athletes,
yes,
to explain to people out there that, sometimes they see an amputee running like 8 hours, for example, in a marathon. And people
yes,
are like, oh, we are so inspired. They start running 2 hours and people start questioning, how can you run the 2 hours with prosthetics? I really want them to know that we go through extensive training. And I have a coach.
Sure.
And
McKeely Jones.
Yes, and my training schedule doesn't say challenged athlete training. No, it just says
training.
You're training 10 miles, 5:55 or 5:40 minute
right,
mile.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have anything to explain that when you are below knee amputee. No, I do that. I go to the gym. I train with a trainer. I train with able-bodied athletes, and we go through the same circuit. There is nothing modified for me. So that is the part that I want people to understand. We put everything out there. You cannot just have your feet cut today, Bob, and run a 2 hour 50 or 2 hour 42 in a marathon. It does not happen like that.
How much faster do you think you would be running a marathon if you had both legs?
The question would be, I don't think I would be running marathons. I would be like, I think I would have been satisfied with what I did in college.
Running cross country,
yes,
running 10K.
But I think I would be running, because I use my friends out there to see, those who I was running with. And maybe 1 or 2 of them are still running.
Right.
So I could be in that, but I think I would be running somewhere 204.
204.
Yes, with my biological feet. That
right,
is what I think I would be running.
How much?
Today.
You're one of the few guys who was a world-class athlete before and a world-class athlete after losing his legs. What is the toughest part of running with prosthetic legs?
The idea that, putting a prosthetic on doesn't convince your mind that it's attached to you.
Because it's not attached to your body.
No, it always feels like it's about to snap. It's about to fall down.
Or come off, yeah.
Come off. And particularly when you're running for 26.2 miles, you're sweating. We don't have anything. It's not porous. The sweat doesn't get out.
No.
It's just there. You're running in
That's
a
right.
pool of water. At mile 26, it's like a half a liter of water at that point, and your leg is wanting to come out.
And do you get? Do you have problems in terms of issues with your stumps when you're running with prosthetic legs?
Yes, you have. Sometimes you hit the bottom of the socket, or maybe it's too tight, so your calf muscle now is
Right.
so tight, and you feel like you need to take it off and relieve it, but you don't have that time to do when you're running. So there's a lot of problems when you're just running on a prosthetic leg. It's just convincing your mind and telling yourself, I got this. I will finish the 26 miles. The one thing, though, that I realized in running a marathon, running the 26.2 miles is not hard. It's the 0.2. That is the hardest, but I almost quit in New York. I just crossed the 26 mile.
Yeah, you
and
thought,
I was
I'm
like,
done.
yes, and then I looked and I couldn't see the finish line. I was like, did they move the finish line?
That's a
like,
long way.
I'm like, am I too late? Did they already dismantle the finishing area? It was the longest part of the marathon.
So what will be your next marathon?
Yes, the Boston would be my next one this Monday.
Oh, you are running.
I am running this Monday.
Because I know you were coming in for the announcement. I wasn't sure if you were going to end up running. As long as you're here, you might as well run.
Yeah, but last night I received an email that says, check for the weather.
Right.
It's going to be extremely cold, and we have until
Alaska.
Monday.
Come on now. You're
Hey.
from Alaska.
24 years in Kenya.
Uh-huh. And now you live in where?
Florida.
Florida.
Orlando. So I am
You're becoming smarter.
I got smart all of a sudden.
So when you look at your new life, your new normal, do you look at it as this is, I'm proud and I'm happy where I'm at? Or do you still feel, gosh, I wish this had never happened?
No, I am happy at where I am at. Because, hey, Bob, you become a celebrity when you lose your feet. Not really. But, no, I am really happy at where I am in life. Because, hey, there's nothing that I'm not doing that I could have done better. Right. Having my biological feet. And guess what? Even when I had my feet, remember the problem, the depression started with when I had my feet.
Yes.
So having both feet is not a guarantee that you're going to live a happy life. No. It's what you make out of a lemon that you're given.
Right.
So I was given this lemon, and I'm trying, not that I'm trying, I am making good use of it.
You have a whole lemonade stand that you have going on.
Guess what? I use my story to inspire a lot of people. I use it as a teaching moment. And if I can convince somebody and get them out of whatever they think is pulling them down,
yes.
Hey, isn't that the greatest thing a human being can do to a fellow human?
Love it. How old are your kids?
Oh, my goodness. I have an 18-year-old back in Kenya.
Yes.
She just graduated high school. Then I have a 7-year-old, an almost 4-year-old. She's going to be 4 in a few days.
Yeah.
And then a 2-year-old.
Oh, my God. So you have 3 youngsters.
I have 3 youngsters that keep me in shape. And they have so many questions. You want to hear something funny?
Yes.
It's not funny. So I was running the Kasparilla half marathon.
Yep.
I have a friend from hometown, Alvin Tuliamuk. She's from my hometown. So we were running, and she won the race. And I just come somewhere like maybe 5 minutes after her.
Yeah.
And my 4-year-old goes, Dad, how did Ali beat you and you have running legs?
Yeah, you have spare legs.
I know, and she beat you.
She beat you with her own legs.
So now that, you know what that did? I went back and I trained harder.
You pushed yourself.
Yes.
Love it. Marko, I love what you bring to the table, and you're running on the best legs in the world, right? The Oser running legs?
Yeah, those legs, man, they are amazing. But this is what we want people to know out there, though. There is no advantage that these legs are giving me.
No.
They are just designed to mimic a human leg. But having ran on my biological feet for all those years, if there was a way of getting them back, I would love to have them back. But, hey, I have these amazing Osa flex runs, and hey, they are doing the job that they are intended to.
Love it. Marko, have a great time out there on Monday.
Hey.
Always appreciate chatting with you.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Marko Cheseto has been our guest. Again, Breakfast with Bob, Boston Marathon Edition. Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.